If you don't feel fulfilled in your life right now, you are probably not asking enough questions. Not about why things are the way they are, but you might not be asking enough questions about what is it that you can do to move forward. What is it that you can do to find your way, to keep going, to find something that excites you, to find something that lights you up, to find something that just puts a spring in your step. That's what it's all about. And that's what we're talking about today. How do you do that? How do you bring that out? Especially when you have been through a difficult time. That's something that I know myself, my friend. Let me introduce myself. My name is Joe Bakhmutsky. I'm a cancer survivor. I've been living with mental health for most of my life. I've seen trauma, I've seen difficulty, and I've decided to really invest myself in leading a life that makes sense to me now, a life that I'm proud of. And that's why after all of my recent adventures, I've become a host of two podcasts, Happy You and the Simplify Cancer podcast. That's why I wrote this book, Finding Hope in Times of Uncertainty, a guide to thriving in the challenging world of today. That's why I talk about transformation and help people on their journeys. That's what I do as a life coach, because I'm so passionate about finding fulfillment. And the reason why I brought up about these questions about fulfillment, because the way that you get that sense of fulfillment in your life is that you draw out things that make sense to you now. When you can reconnect with a sense of purpose. Because when you have that, when you can reconnect with your sense of purpose, that is when you start to truly feel that you belong. That you belong in this life today. Because what gave you a sense of purpose before, I might be different. I feel like something that I was really passionate about, before going through cancer was, my job, my career. I was working at the university, and I was working in kind of this whole IT project space, and I loved it. It made a ton of sense to me. I was really, really passionate about it. But after going through cancer, I realized, well, this isn't my life's work. What I want to really be doing now, longer term, that really excites me and fires me up, is something different. And I just tried to explore things, which led me into just being where I am today, which is totally different from what I've ever could possibly imagine. That's why asking questions within yourself will help you to bring up what is it that is truly important to you now. And these questions, they don't need to be complex, but they come from also from the understanding that fulfillment is an aspiration, right? Fulfillment is not like a permanent place that you get to and you go, okay, cool, now I'm just fulfilled for the rest of my life. No, fulfillment is something that you always keep going on this journey towards something, towards an aspiration, a dream, a goal that you have. And then those goals and those dreams, they might change. But going on the journey, being excited about that is the true nature of fulfillment. So let's talk about what sort of questions do we ask and how do we get to it? And I think it happens in two ways. One is about finding that sense of purpose in everyday situations. That makes you feel more connected to your experience, that makes you more fulfilled with the life that you're having today. And that is becoming more conscious about what is that you do. Is going into the situations in your life that really demand clarity. Whether that's an important job meeting, whether that's sitting down with your family member, whether that's talking to your partner, whether it's whatever it is, the important situation that you are facing, it's going into that and saying, especially if it's worrying, or if it's something that is important to you, or something you kind of want to get good at or want to get right, is asking, what is my purpose here? Like, what do I actually can I bring into this? What is it that I can give in this moment that will make me feel better? That will make this interaction feel good, both for me and this other person, or group of people. What can I bring in? What is my purpose here? I know it sounds so basic, but asking that sense of purpose, like, what is my purpose in this particular moment, in this situation? Whether that's, for me, I can ask myself, what is my purpose when I'm, for example, with talking to my son after I pick him up from school. Well, my purpose is just to connect with him, to make him feel heard, to just be interested in his life. And that shapes our interaction, that shapes our relationship now. So these situations, they might be everyday moments, but when you can reconnect with your purpose within that, which is very simple oftentimes, or at least so it is for me, it can help us to be more present, to be more in the moment, and to have that sense of greater fulfillment as you're going about through your day. And I know that sometimes you might feel that things are happening and you don't feel that you always have the control of what's going on. And it feels like things are just happening sometimes, and it's not up to you. I think that's why it's so important to separate things that you cannot do or influence or control from the things that you can. So I want to do a quick exercise with you. And if you've done this before, I hope it's still going to serve you, because we're going to do this real quick. And I think we all struggle with this, don't we? We all struggle with trying to change things that we can't really change, or being upset about things beyond our control. So let's take a moment and let's reconnect with what it is that you can influence. So it's visualization exercise. So what I want you to do now is just get comfortable wherever you are, and imagine that there's a line going out from your forehead, dividing the space in front of you in two equal halves. And now I want you to think of things in your life, or that are affecting your life, that you're involved with, that you're paying attention to, things that might be challenging you, that might be frustrating you, or worrying you, that you cannot change or control. You cannot change or influence them in any way. I want you to think of something like that. I want you to imagine it in your mind. You can grab that thing, think of it, grab it, put it to the left. So I want you to think about, just right now in your mind, bring up things that are worrying you, that are challenging you, that are frustrating you, that you cannot change, right? I want you to think, and each of those things, I want you to think of it, grab it, put it to the left. It might be something that's happening in the world. It might be something that happens, like for me, it's the war in Ukraine. That's where I'm from. I cannot change the fact that it's happening. I have to live with this fact, right? So for me, that's one thing that comes to mind. What is for you? What is something that you know that is happening, that is affecting you, is important to you, that you cannot change? It might be something to do with, with your career. It might be something to do with your health. It might be something to do with people around you, right? Think of what that is, grab it, put it to the left. I want you to think of at least 3 things like that. 3 things that come up for you. Cool? Hopefully you had the chance to think of something. Now let's remember, we've got this line of control separating these two worlds, right? We talked about this is on the left, things you cannot change, influence, or control. Now, let's switch over to the right. And now I want you to think of things that might be helping you, might be supporting you, things that you want to do in your life, things that you aspire to, things that get you excited, things that make you feel good, or things that you just kind of know they have to be done. You just have to do them, right? Or you could do if you wanted to at least change them in some way. I want you to think of something like that, grab it, put it to the right in your mind. Again, these are things that are happening in your world that you could somehow influence or change. This might be the way that you think about things. This might be the things that you do every day. What is that for you? I want you to think of at least 3 things like that you can influence or change that are important to you on some level. Think of it, grab it, put it to the right. Hopefully you had a moment to think of 2 or 3 or hopefully even more things like that. So now let's remember, we've got the line of control separating these 2 halves. And what I want you to do now is to imagine that you're not going to, in your mind, you're going to take all those things that you cannot change or do anything about. They're on the left. And I want you to imagine that you're going to move them out of the way. You're going to move them away to the left-hand side, to the place where they no longer bother you and your way of life. I want you to do that. And here is a critical thing that happens now. You know that those things, they aren't going to disappear. But the reality is, those things are now in a place where they belong. You've called them out. They're now in a place where they are no longer running your life. You're no longer just thinking about it permanently. You're able to set them aside for the time being so you can put your energy, your time, your spirit in towards things that you can control, towards things that are up to you. That is what's vital, my friend. Because now you can do the things that you can influence, that you can change. That's what it's all about. So what is it in your life that will make you feel more fulfilled, more excited, feel better, feel good about yourself and the world around you that is at least to some way up to you? Is it around your health? Is it around your family? Is it around your friends? Is it about your habits? What could be something that you could do today, right now? The one thing that will make you feel better. I want you to pick out one thing and go with that. Because then again, that helps us to take our energy and put it in something that serves you, that goes towards making you feel more fulfilled. Taking what you can take charge of and going with that, to putting it to work, making it work for you, my friend. That's what it's all about. Now, we talked about finding, asking, what is my purpose in an everyday situation that is important to you in some way? We talked about how to channel your energy towards things that are really important to you and your way of life. Now let's talk about bigger picture. Let's talk about how do we reconnect with our sense of purpose, our way of life. How do we become more fulfilled and reconnect with that sense of purpose at broader level? I really believe it goes in these 3 things that really help us. I call it my 3 P's of purpose. I really believe it all comes down to asking, who is it that I want to help and why? This question helps us to really frame where you can direct your efforts in a greater scale. Because fulfillment it's always one way or another. It's about other people, right? It's about going beyond yourself to give in a way that makes sense to you. Maybe it's a cause that you believe in. Maybe it's getting volunteering for something. Maybe it's a project that you aspire to. But it's always about these 3 areas, I believe. Is first of all, it's your passions. I think so much of the time when we go through a difficult, challenging time, we kind of disconnect from things that we love to do, whether that's sports, whether that's a craft, whether that's something that you enjoy doing, or we just don't have time for it, or just the mental presence. And that's when it's so vital to bring that back into your life. That's when it's so vital to get involved in something that you're passionate about. Something maybe you've done before that you haven't done in a while. Or maybe something you've always wanted to try but never really had the time for. That's what it's all about. What is that for you, my friend? What's one thing that you're passionate about that you could do that's like a hobby or an interest, something that you love doing? What is that for you? The second thing is, we talked about passions. Let's talk about people. Who is in your life that you care about, that perhaps looks up to you, that needs your support and encouragement, that you care about? And how can you do that more for them? How can you make them feel more loved, more appreciated, more cared for? Knowing what that is, it can make such a huge difference, because it helps you reconnect with why are you here? What, who are you doing this for? That's our purpose. It's ultimately to give back, to give. That's what it's all about. That gives us that sense of purpose. That gives us the sense of belonging beyond yourself. And the third thing is projects. That's having a project that has a start and an end, that you can plan for, that you can work towards, that helps us to reconnect with our sense of purpose. That helps us feel that you're going somewhere. And that project might be an adventure of some kind. A project that might be, writing a book. That project might be doing something personal. That might be travel. That might be doing something around your place. That project might be something in your community. Whatever it is that speaks to you, it's so vital to have something that excites you and lights you up. Those are the 3 P's of purpose: passions, people, projects, that get you excited, that get you to be more present, more in the moment, that help you to keep you moving. Remember, we talked about that your fulfillment is not a permanent place, but it's an aspiration that you are moving towards. My friend, I hope this has served you. I want to remind you of this thing. I believe we all have this incredible power to be happy, to seek greater clarity in everything that we do, to show up at our best every single day, to prove to ourselves that we're enough, and to hold on to hope. No matter how crazy it gets, things can and do change for the better. Please believe in that. That's what I always tell all of my clients that I work with. And if you're seeking a breakthrough in your life right now, I can serve you and support you to do that. If you want to check out of a possibility to working with me and what that might look like and how that can help you, go to powertobehappy.com. That's powertobehappy.com and click on Clarity First to find out more. My name is Joe Bakhmutsky. I want to thank you for being here. I'll see you soon.